Hello, I'm Bakhtiar Sanova and welcome to Africa News. Let's begin with the headlines. The Democratic Republic of the Congo is reporting more than 670 Ebola cases and 136 deaths. Police in South Africa are searching for suspects after 12 people were killed in a shooting in Johannesburg. And a Somali referee who was supposed to be at the World Cup but was denied entry to the United States returns home to a hero's welcome. More cases of the Ebola virus have been reported by health officials in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. They are warning that the country's latest outbreak shows no sign of slowing. Here is our report.
Ebola is still spreading in the Democratic Republic of Congo. The number of confirmed cases has risen to more than 670, including 136 deaths, according to health authorities. The latest figures, released on Thursday, include 41 new cases and 9 additional deaths reported the previous day. The outbreak is mostly in the eastern provinces of Ituri, North Kivu and South Kivu, and is caused by the Bundibugyo strain of the virus. Officials say the disease has now affected 29 health zones, with new areas in North Kivu and Ituri reporting infections. Health authorities warn that cases have been increasing by the week. They say there is a risk the outbreak could spread rapidly to new locations if control measures are not strengthened. More than 5,700 people who may have been exposed to the virus are currently being monitored. However, officials say contact tracing remains below target levels, making it harder to break chains of transmission. The outbreak was officially declared on May 15th. It's the country's 17th Ebola outbreak since the virus was first identified there in 1976. Authorities are particularly concerned because the affected region is home to a large number of displaced people, with a frequent cross-border movement with neighbouring countries.
Police in South Africa have launched a manhunt after 12 people were killed in a mass shooting at an informal settlement in Johannesburg. At least 10 suspects heavily armed with rifles entered the area and opened fire before fleeing in a white vehicle, police said. Here is more on that story.
The bodies of 12 people who have been killed in a gun attack on an informal settlement near Johannesburg have been recovered.
In terms of the fatalities, we're still standing at 12, which is 9 male and 3 females. But we are still verifying because as we are visiting this crime scene, there might be maybe other crime scenes which we could not reach out there.
The incident took place on June 10th, according to police. Initial reports indicate that the dead include 9 men and 3 women, although officials say the death toll could still rise as searches continue in some areas. Police described the attack as horrific and said the gunmen were heartless. The motive for the shooting remains unclear. Authorities said more than 10 suspects are being sought in connection with the attack. No arrests have yet been made. South Africa has one of the highest murder rates in the world, with official figures suggesting an average of around 60 killings per day.
South Africa has launched the national rollout of lenacapavir, an HIV infection prevention shot that can extend protection for people at high risk of infection.
Led by the President.
South Africa has launched the national rollout of lenacapavir, a twice-yearly injection used to prevent HIV. President Cyril Ramaphosa announced the program in Secunda, Mpumalanga province, saying the treatment marks one of the country's most important HIV breakthroughs since antiretroviral therapy. The long-acting drug is designed to give people another prevention option, especially those who struggle with taking daily pills or making frequent clinic visits.
It helped me because now I'm still HIV negative. I think it's a better injection because it only comes twice a year instead of coming every 2 months or eating the pill every day.
I think myself it's a game changer. This will actually improve, especially for the young, vulnerable individuals, our young girls, the young boys, and the general population will benefit from this. So I think as we fight HIV towards 2030 to eradicate it, we are in the right track.
In the first phase, the injections will be distributed to more than 360 public health facilities in high-burden districts. Officials say the rollout will target nearly 450,000 people from high-risk groups, with more than $80 million invested in the initial phase. South Africa has also reached an agreement with US biopharmaceutical company Gilead to produce the injection locally. The country has the world's largest HIV burden, with nearly 8 million people living with the virus and more than 6 million receiving antiretroviral treatment.
Somali football referee Omar Abdulkadir Artan has returned home to a hero's welcome by fans and officials. He was due to work at the World Cup but was denied entry into the United States.
Cheers echoed through Mogadishu on Wednesday as Somali referee Omar Abdulkadir Artan returned home after being denied entry to the United States ahead of the FIFA World Cup. Artan, who had been set to make history as the first Somali official at football's biggest tournament and was recently named Africa's Referee of the Year for 2025, was turned back over the weekend by U.S. Customs and Border Protection. U.S. authorities said on Tuesday that the decision was linked to alleged ties to suspected members of terror organizations, a claim that has drawn attention and controversy. Speaking upon his return to Somalia's capital, Artan described the situation as fate and expressed gratitude for the support he received from FIFA.
What happened has happened, and it is fate. FIFA has supported me well, and they have been following my journey closely up till now. I promise you that in the upcoming matches, I will go further and leave a positive mark. Somalia is ours, whether things are good or bad. I want to tell our youth not to lose hope in our country. That flag is ours.
His return to Mogadishu drew a warm reception, with senior government officials, including the sports minister, the defense minister, and senior representatives from the Somali Football Federation, present to welcome him at the airport. The Somali government said it had attempted to resolve the issue through talks with both U.S. officials and FIFA, but those efforts were unsuccessful, leaving his World Cup dream unfulfilled.
A group of Nigerian nationals have returned from South Africa amid growing concerns over safety linked to recent unrest. They departed from OR Tambo International Airport as tensions and reports of violence continued to affect migrant communities. Officials say the situation has raised a serious concern among those living in the country.
A group of Nigerian nationals arrived at OR Tambo International Airport on Wednesday night as they prepared to return home from South Africa, citing growing concerns over safety amid recent unrest. The incidents have included reports of looting and foreigners being targeted, fueling anxiety among migrant communities. Some Nigerians say the situation, widely circulated on social media, influenced their decision to leave. Nigeria's diplomatic mission in South Africa says many of those returning no longer feel safe enough to continue living or working in the country, with daily life becoming increasingly uncertain. It adds that several individuals have had their businesses shut down, severely affecting their livelihoods.
They're going home because a lot of them don't feel safe. Their businesses have been shut down. They can't operate. Their livelihoods have been shattered. They're living in fear, basically. You're walking on the street and a fellow citizen can stop you and ask for your papers. People have been harmed. Businesses have been looted. So basically, the opportunity has been presented. Come home.
On Thursday, 258 Nigerian citizens returned to Lagos from South Africa. They said they left because of violence, discrimination and safety concerns. The Air Peace aircraft landed at Murtala Mohammed International Airport at 10:25 a.m. The passengers were escorted by staff from Nigeria's diplomatic mission in Pretoria. Some were thankful to be back safely, while others were taken for processing. The Nigerian government has advised its citizens in South Africa to stay alert and report any threats to diplomatic authorities. It said it is also in talks with South African officials and is looking into the incidents. Officials said South Africa has experienced several waves of xenophobic violence in the past. In some cases, foreign-owned businesses have been targeted. Nigeria said it is supporting its citizens and continues discussions with South African authorities about their safety.
Climate change is reshaping communities across East Africa. In Kenya's Rift Valley, the impact is visible along the shores of Lake Naivasha.
Rising water levels at Lake Naivasha in Kenya's Rift Valley are swallowing shorelines, disrupting ecosystems and forcing some communities to abandon their homes. The freshwater lake, known for its biodiversity and tourism value, has expanded steadily over the past several years, following persistent heavy rains linked to climate change. Buildings that once stood along the banks are now surrounded by water, while low-lying areas have been submerged. The rising waters are also affecting wildlife. As the lake pushes further inland, hippos and other animals are moving closer to residential areas, increasing the risk of human-wildlife conflict. Experts say Lake Naivasha is not an isolated case. Other Rift Valley lakes, including Baringo and Nakuru, are also expanding, with consequences for agriculture, fisheries and local communities.
And from our research, we find that whenever we had the increase in the sea surface temperatures in the Indian Ocean and also in the Pacific, in the Equatorial Pacific Ocean, now it causes the rainfall in the Eastern Africa region to increase, especially like during when we have the El Nino. But now we would say that in terms of it being exceeding the threshold of the ecosystems.
With water levels continuing to threaten biodiversity, livelihoods and human safety, specialists are calling for stronger climate monitoring and disaster warning systems.
That's all we have today on Africa News. Thanks for watching and stay tuned to A News for continuing coverage.